Hi, I'm June, the Happy Thai Girl. I'm so excited for our next show. Spanish Fork's very own head football coach for Maple Mountain High School, Kaylin Hall, is going to show us how to make Southern-style sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes, and these are extra yummy. Southern sweet potatoes are coming up next on Cooking Made Easy with June, brought to you by Macy's, the happy shopping store in Spanish Fork. Hello everyone, welcome to Cooking Made Easy with June. Today I have a very special guest, Mr. Kaylin Hall.
Yes.
And you know he's special, especially to Spanish Fork, because you are the new head coach of the Maple Mountain High School Eagles football team.
That's right. That's right. And your husband coaches with me. Huh? Yeah, absolutely.
But you're the head coach and you have your son playing in the professional. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but Kaylin, tell me a little bit of your background of cooking and then maybe these sweet potatoes, like how, well, while we're talking, let's start cutting up. So,
Yeah.
so about 3 pounds of potatoes,
About
right?
3 pounds
so,
of potatoes, yeah.
So here you can cut 2 and then
Yep.
so show me how big you want it.
So honestly, I mean, it's the proportions just really depend
You
on.
do circles?
I do circles, then I cut them in quarters.
Oh,
So
like
yeah,
before you put it in the water?
before I put them in the water. Yep.
Okay, well
so
then
you cut them
I
all
feel
down.
like, oh, this is hard to cut. Yeah, no wonder you do that. Okay, I see.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do it like this.
You cut them in quarters.
Okay. So anyway, tell me the history of the potatoes while we're
So
cutting into quarters.
actually, like candy yams, it's a It was a holiday side dish that I had.
Well, it's very
quite a
traditional
bit.
Southern.
Southern, yeah, very traditional in the South. But you know, people make candy yams a lot different, right? Depending on where you're from.
Okay,
So-
so well, let's start. I forgot to say, so candied yams. So a lot of times, a lot of people, many people, even I do it. We interchange yams and sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and yams are a little bit whiter. They're actually a little bit more expensive.
Yep.
And they said that there's is not much difference though between yam and potatoes.
Yeah.
But they did say the sweet potato. To me, I think there's a tiny bit. I think there's a different flavor.
There is.
In this.
I don't like the sweet potato. I think the sweet potato is a little more bland,
Yeah,
personally,
yeah.
than the yam itself. And so the yam
I
gives
agree.
you a little bit more of a, I don't know, a dessertish type of flavor.
Right.
And that's kind of what I tend to.
Yeah, sweet,
You know,
yeah.
I like sweet. Yeah.
Me too.
It works
So-
a lot better for me.
So, but they do say the nutrients, the sweet potato does have a tiny bit more nutrients
probably so.
than the yam.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't taste quite as good. So yeah, anything that's not quite as good probably is a little bit better for you.
So, but it's very close. So, but I love sweet potatoes. I can eat like as a meal, just sweet
yeah.
potatoes.
Yeah.
So
Same here.
So I have this water already started, but
Yep.
I'll just start putting it in.
Yep, start throwing
Try
them
not
in
to
there.
splash it.
Yep, it's all right.
So it takes about 3 pounds. So now when you send me the recipe, you don't put the amount, so I'm gonna have to take notes along the way
No,
so
it's
we can
okay.
share.
yeah, that's not a problem.
So you're like one of those cooks who just like do it.
I'm a flavor guy, so to the taste, but you know, standard with anything. And once we get into actually putting the yams into the remainder of the ingredients, then
Okay.
we can talk about like
Okay.
some of the
Oh,
other.
this is the thing. Anyway, so
But yeah, it's a traditional Southern dish. Have it during Christmas or Thanksgiving, most of the time, or anytime you're cooking a Thanksgiving or Christmas type of meal. I
Yeah.
usually would have yams or any type of Southern dishes like fried chicken. You usually have yams, or if you're doing like turkey necks or anything along those lines.
well,
I
all
mean,
these years that we've been,
friends,
you know, having
yep.
friends and having dinners together, I come on never have you bring any sweet potatoes.
You know, because it honestly, it takes, like the stuff that I like to cook, it takes a lot of time, right? Southern delight food and Southern comfort food takes time. You know,
Yeah.
there's no quick fixes, flavors and the love and the simmer. And so ultimately, that's probably why I've never brought
Should I cover
the
this?
desires. Yeah, that's fine.
Well,
You can cover
but
it.
I mean, we could like, if you just bring one side dish though, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I could probably start
maybe we
doing
could
that.
do, yeah,
We
right.
could
You're
probably
like,
start doing
whatever. So now let's talk a little bit about football. Okay,
Yeah.
wait, so we're gonna simmer this
Yeah,
for
gotta
about,
simmer for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on how many's in there. So,
okay,
yeah.
so let's talk a little bit about football. A part of the
Okay.
reason I love to have you on is you have a new program.
Yeah.
So when you came in, just tell us about What happened? Like, I mean, you love football, and
Yeah.
I know you do. And but in Maple Mountain, what are your
Yeah. So,
goals?
well, it's been home, right? I mean, my kids all grew up here. I've been in the community for like 30 years. Never coached here at the high school level.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to coach any of my own kids. You know, it's just conflict of interest for me.
Okay.
So I didn't. But after they were done, the job became available, and I just thought it was a good opportunity for me to give back to the community. Because at the end of the day, you know, as a high school coach, it's not a job. It's an
Right.
appointment. You don't get paid to do this
Right.
stuff. It's like, you know, you're volunteering your time
Yeah.
to try to help to build these young people,
Yeah.
to give them some core values, just to do the best you can, you know, with the circumstances that you're given. But it's home. I live right up the street from the high school.
Love
A lot
it,
of kids
yeah.
in the community, right? In your,
Yes.
you know, in your religious, in your ward, right around the corner.
There are a couple kids in our
Yeah.
ward that
Yeah.
Steve helps coach, you
Yeah,
know, and it's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's good
But
fun.
yeah, so the Mapleton, Maple
Mm-hmm.
Mountain Heights, the record was really bad, and I'm gonna give you.
Yeah.
Well-
Well, the two previous years, yeah.
Okay,
But
okay.
I mean, it's been hit and miss, right? They've
Right.
had some successes over
But
the
you've
years.
had this past year though, it was
Yeah.
a great change, and I
Yep.
just want to laud you. It wasn't perfect, like
No.
you know, but from a record of not
Yeah.
winning a lot, it's. Then this year, past
Yeah.
year, what was your record?
So I wasn't great. You know, we're 6
Well,
and 6, but
yeah,
we
but that-
won more games this year than the previous last 2 seasons. So that was good.
Yeah.
We were a few seconds away from making it to the final 8 teams in the state.
That's huge.
So it was good. It was good for
Right.
where we started and for where the young men were at. And you know, at the end of the day, you know, we're just trying to build on that and
Right.
a program that people are serious about. Takes an awful lot of work, a lot of time.
Yes.
And takes a lot of commitment, not only from the coaches who are all volunteers, you know, your
Right.
husband Steve is
Yeah.
one of our coaches, but it takes a lot of work from the community and a lot of buy-in because at the end of the day, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. Football is not
Right.
one of those sports that you can just train and next month, the month after next, you can dive right into it. It doesn't
Right.
work like that.
Right.
So,
No,
yeah.
I know the football lovers, of course, you have
Yeah.
to know all about that. But I guess what I'm trying to do is we'll talk about like when the kids need to show up and try it, right?
Yeah, no,
So this is
yeah. I
not-
mean, it's something that, you know, at the end of the day, football is a sport that you can't say that you don't love it until you try it.
Right.
And once you get into it, it's something that ultimately is the ultimate team sacrifice. It's a lot of work, but there's a lot of rewards, a lot of values that come from it. And
So fun though.
yeah, oh, it's a fun
There's
game
some
as
up and
well.
down.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
guys
yeah.
know sports.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So it's good fun though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about food, and then we'll
Yeah.
talk more about
Uh-huh.
football and all that. But so the sweet potato.
Yep.
What do you serve? What do you think we serve with the sweet potatoes?
So for me, a lot of different things.
Uh huh.
Any rice combinations, whether that's like if you
Oh, I
cook
forgot about rice.
like a turkey and gravy with
Yeah.
yams, a macaroni is a good combination for it, right?
Oh,
Yeah, you just
yeah.
want to kind of, you know,
We have
it's about the flavors for me.
Yeah.
It's more than the actual yam itself. It's what the yam accents towards the other foods that you
Look
take,
at
right?
you talk.
I mean, it is what it is. You know, I'm kind of a food connoisseur, Southern food connoisseur.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, I didn't realize you cooked a lot until
Yeah.
lately.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I've always cooked only on the holidays, right? It's
Oh,
mostly like
okay.
only on the holidays and then Sundays. Like I'll cook like Holly and
You
I
just cook.
periodically. I cook because I like to eat certain stuff. Honestly, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I like to eat certain things, and
And
when
then
I
you
used to travel quite a bit, right? I used to travel all across the U.S. for work. I used to hit these Southern delights, right? These Southern dishes, and I was like, man, I don't like paying like $45 for a plate, right? And so, but I still wanted to try, you know, have those
Right,
foods periodically.
right.
So I just all of a sudden I called a couple of my aunts and asked some things that they
That's
did.
what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
What this came? Your aunts. Where
Yeah,
are they
a couple
now?
of my aunts. I mean, I got aunties in Ohio, got them
Okay.
in Las Vegas, got them down in Tennessee. And so you just, make a few phone calls and, you kind of get a foundation. But
Yeah.
Southern cooking is all based on taste. So it's going to be different for everybody. Everyone's got
Mm-hmm.
a different taste. You talk about ingredients, but, you can do foundational, like you do a teaspoon of nutmeg, you do a stick of butter. But then after that, it's all to taste, right?
Right, right.
Everyone has a
I
different
think a lot of
taste.
foods are similar to that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
your aunties, do you ever
No.
get together with them, or do you ever see them on occasion?
No, well, Skype now. Skype is a way
Oh.
to. Everyone's so far away,
Right.
and life starts, and you got family and you got grandkids, and so things get busy, work and everything. So as far as getting together, no, yeah, that'd probably be at least another 7-8 minutes on
Really?
those. Yeah.
Okay,
But you know, we get together via Skype and whatnot and communicate and chat. But
Okay.
the dishes are the side dishes. A yam is a side dish. There's so many different things. Fried chicken goes great with it.
Right.
Any type of catfish, you can go catfish and yams.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, there's this like any southern, like you go to a southern restaurant and the sides are always macaroni. You have collard greens. You have candy yams. You have a sweet corn. Or you have rice. So those are like your constants.
Right.
For any type of southern food, you can mix and mingle these type of things
Right.
with it. So.
And I would think that this would be really good, like even with like around here, or any traditionally just fried pork chops, which is kind of
Absolutely.
southern too.
Anything.
And all that, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
honestly, if you got a sweet tooth, if you like sweet, then the yam is gonna, savor that flavor
Right.
for you. So yeah.
Okay, Kaylin, I think we're ready to drain our potatoes. Let me get this over here, and you put that on the sink,
Yep.
and then I'll just go over here and.
Yep.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so we want it back on here, right?
Yeah, we'll put them back in there now.
Okay.
So.
Is that too hot for you?
No,
doing-
that's fine.
Okay.
So if you want to give me that pot back,
Oh, okay, we'll just do it.
yep, just throw them right back in.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, Kaylin,
So-
take it away. I'm gonna get
So
used to
from here, basically what you'll do is you will get a stick of butter.
Okay.
So you get a stick
A
of
stick
butter.
of butter. So you think this is about 3 pounds? So
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
doing this, I have to write along the way because you didn't give me proportions. So where did my pencil go? Lost. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Keep talking.
So you get a stick of butter, 2 cups of sugar, regular sugar.
A regular sugar? Oh,
White sugar, 2 cups.
okay. And 2 cups of brown, right?
A couple of cups of brown.
Wow. Okay.
Again, it's not for those that have some
3
sugar
pounds.
tolerances, that's for sure.
No, it's gonna be so good.
Okay.
2 cups of brown. And then,
A couple tablespoons of nutmeg.
okay, 2 tablespoons.
Mm-hmm.
Nutmeg. Okay. All right.
So,
Glad you got proportions.
okay. Then you throw it
Okay,
back
go ahead.
on the stove.
Oh, you don't stir it?
No.
Oh.
No,
okay.
put it on the stove. Let it cook down. And that was hot. Let it cook
Okay.
down. So fire it back up. Let
And just
cook
cover it?
down. Just cover it back up.
On high?
Yeah, high until it starts to boil real good. Then
And
you'll
to
turn
simmer.
it down to simmer.
And then that's it?
And then you let it simmer. You stir it occasionally. It's because it start to caramelize.
Okay.
You stir it. You make sure you keep the bottom of your
So
pan
we'll keep this here.
from burning. 'Cause
Okay.
Depending on what type of pot you use.
Yeah, it's non-stick.
Yeah. So ultimately, the longer you simmer,
Uh-huh.
the better the flavor. I mean, that could be anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Just all
Right.
depends on how much time you have.
Could you do a crock pot or no? Or that's too
Yeah,
not
I mean, you can.
maybe get more too mushy maybe.
Make it a little
Because
too
if you
dishy.
make it
yeah.
high-
That's the thing, because if you can't when you check the yam after you boil them,
Uh-huh.
you don't want them to mush through. You want them to kind of be
Have some
texture to them, some toughness,
Let me get a bowl.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, ultimately, if you're pushing through
Sorry. Keep talking.
your yam and it stops a little bit, that's kind of what you want. But if it goes like all the way through, it's too mushy. You don't want your yam to be like that.
Yeah.
Because
So,
you
I
want it
mean-
to hold that good flavor.
I know,
So-
I think we think we're too you guys are so particular, but I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, it does. It really does.
So I
So-
actually baked some frozen. Don't quote me. Don't tell anybody that I baked some frozen chicken strips to go with this.
It all works.
I'm
It
gonna
all
come
works.
pull it out.
So again, you got this on high. Because again, the yam holds a lot of water naturally, retains water in the yam itself. And so you don't need to add any water. Make sure all the water was out when you did your little transition
Yeah.
from straining the yam to
Okay.
putting all your dry ingredients in. So as soon as it starts to caramelize, yeah, it'll take a few minutes. to caramelize. You know, you just keep
Take on the
kind
show.
of mixing them around a little bit. Put the butter off to the
Is it
side.
working?
Yeah, it's starting to caramelize a little bit. So, after you caramelize here pretty good, mix these around, keep them stirring. Then once they caramelize all the sugar or the dry ingredients, then you turn it down to simmer, then you just let it simmer. And the way I like to do it, I like to make sure that my yam, again, is not too mushy when we start the dry ingredient process. I like them a little tough, because then as you're simmering them, they will automatically become more tender as the actual dry ingredients caramelize and they soak into the yam itself.
So, like, say that again. I know that everybody heard, but so you like it not as cooked from the first?
Yeah,
what do you mean?
I don't like it very cooked. I got to be a little tough. Can't be mushy.
Before this part?
Before you get to the dry ingredient part.
Oh,
Yeah, because
okay.
obviously when you got it simmering, they're gonna keep cooking, and then they're gonna
Yes.
start getting more and more done. You don't want them
Right.
overdone where they become mushy. You want the yam to be a little tough, and yeah, you can see it's
I
starting
see.
to caramelize
Oh,
a little
that looks
bit.
beautiful.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, I
yeah.
wish you could smell it, you guys. It smells so good. I can smell the nutmeg. That's what I love. That
Yeah.
I love that you were so generous with the nutmeg.
Oh yeah.
So
Nutmegs are great ingredients.
Okay.
For flavor savers.
I
So,
think we can go ahead and dish a few in here, and then even though it's not,
Yeah,
just for now, like
Yeah.
just for the show reasons.
absolutely.
But
A little bit in
I'm going to put some in here, and we'll let it simmer a while. Do you let it high boil, or do you?
Right now, so it's now you can turn it down to simmer. Now that it's all caramelized, and now you just simmer it, medium simmer.
Oh.
That's why it's gonna keep cooking. That's why if they were overcooked before you put the dry ingredients in, they would get really mushy. And you don't want your
Right.
yams to be really mushy.
So, how long? About 15 minutes, you think? It depends on
Yeah.
up to you. You said
Depends
that.
on how many's in the pot. Like that for that
Oh.
3 pounds, maybe it's about 15 minutes, 20
Okay.
minutes is what you'll let it simmer. But the more you simmer it, the more the flavor gets all the way through the yam.
Right.
Sometimes people will cook like whatever the food may be, and in the middle of whatever that is, there's no flavor. But the longer it simmers, the more that the flavor goes all the way through that main dish. So
I'm just going to put some in here just for now, you
Yeah.
know, just for the show. Of course, we'll let some simmer a little bit longer, but just put it right here. So that's probably good enough for now. And then we'll let the rest simmer. But could you give me a piece of paper towel, and then we'll wipe this down real quick. And then,
and the other thing I like to do is you'd like to get a little taste.
yes.
Partway through, get your little taste,
Where's the fork?
just the sauce or whatever.
Yeah, you get.
I don't-
let me get a spoon.
The way I do it, I just stick my finger in it. So I'm not gonna do that on your show. But hey, when you're talking about comfort food, you gotta be comfortable when you're cooking also. So this stuff is really hot, so you don't really wanna dip it in
Right.
and suck it, but you just put a little taste to it. Yeah, it's not bad. But for me, I like to add a little more nutmeg because
Okay.
that's what it needs, because that's what I like.
So that's a little bit more than 2
That-
tablespoons.
Well, that's the taste, though, for
Yeah,
me.
right,
My
for
taste
you.
is different than everybody else's taste.
Yeah.
Everybody else may be just fine
Right.
with the 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
But again, this is easy. I mean, you just taste it, and
Yeah.
you move on, you let it simmer.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So let me just, I'll just do a plate for the pictures here. I'll just put some chicken on here. I'll use
Yep.
my finger. That's a good picture. Anyway, so we'll just put some chicken on here and maybe just a little bit of sweet potato. Yeah, just do it here. And then I want to taste it though. I just because I know that you say it's not quite done yet.
Yeah.
But I've had it before, like where it's really. We need some greens on here. Okay, there's some sweet potatoes. Do you want some?
yeah, I'll take it just a
Yeah,
little
you
bit.
try some. We'll
Just a little bit.
yeah, we'll just
Yeah.
share. Here, I'll just share a plate with you.
There you go.
Here.
Yep. So the small one, because I know that one's done. Yeah,
Well,
not
I
bad.
mean, they look
Not
like
bad.
they're pretty done. Not bad for
No.
not simmering long enough.
But not simmering, but you could definitely, the longer they simmer, the more that they cook through.
Ooh.
And it goes all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
It's hot.
oh yeah. It's good stuff though. Absolutely.
I can taste that nutmeg. That's awesome. So we'll let that simmer longer. And I'll
Yep.
put that in the sink.
Yep.
We're talking about, we'll let that simmer, but you tell me a few minutes for this show, I know we'll talk more about. Let's talk a little bit about Jaron.
Yeah.
I know everybody's gonna know like that. I mean, you must be such a proud dad to see him on TV. And I know he's just starting his career. It's not where it is yet, but it takes a while to get going on that for most careers. So how are you like? You just did you think? Oh, I mean, most kids, you know, they play football. That's their goal, but I mean, tell us about Jaron. Like, what do you think is the difference?
There's no difference. It's like it's always been expectation, right? It's like with everything. It's like you're not surprised at something when you always knew that was going to be the opportunity or the potential.
Okay.
So, you know, it's more of like a realization and being proud of the work that he put in, coming through a lot of hurdles and overcoming a lot of adversities and whatnot. And just being proud of those things and still the fact that he's the type of young man that he is. Those are the like the proud dad moments. This other stuff, you know, it's great. You know, he's 1% of the 1%. That's wonderful. But that's not who he is, right? That's what he does, right? Football doesn't define him as a person, but it's what he does for a profession. And, you know, who knows how long? It could be a 15-year career, it could be a 5-year career, it could be a 2-year career. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's irrelevant.
Nobody really sees the back, really get it. I mean, you see, there's, what's his name? And but it's such a process. Yeah. And it's just, you know, and you have other kids and then they have different things that they're doing.
Everyone who goes through that, like any professional sport or anyone that goes, you know, medical school or goes any route of any level of professionalism, there's a degree of hurdle that one has to go through, and there's a degree of, you know, workmanship, and it's, you know, you have to keep balance, you know, with the rest of your kids. You can't, you know, overwhelm yourself emotionally with one and kind of forget about the other. So, you know, so take a delicate balance.
So just to close a little bit here, what one thing, like, I know you want him to come to football, but what do you think, I mean, any advice? Maybe there's some kids who really start with high school. I mean, I don't know. Any advice or anything?
You know, honestly, find your space of happiness, right?
Yeah.
And don't be afraid. But also don't be afraid to expand, right? Step outside of your comfort zone, especially for things that can make you better, that can help you to become a little bit better today than you were yesterday, right? Things that will broaden the individual that you are. You can't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. You really can't.
And I think you have to believe, like, you can't say, oh, well, no, that's just so hard, 1%. You know what I mean? Don't you think you have to, like, visualize and think?
Absolutely. Yeah. Dream big, visualize, put things up that are tangible, achievable goals, things that you can actually can be quantified. And so you really need to be consistent with being consistent and keep working through adversities, because it's going to happen. No matter who you are, what you are, or, you know, how good you are or not, you know, things are going to happen. And just know that if it's your goal, just don't let anybody tell you no. Just keep working. So.
Well, any shout outs to your aunts for the sweet potatoes?
Also Aunt Shirley, you know, Aunt Carolyn, you know, Aunt Rosie.
Aunt Shirley, I love.
All my aunties, everybody.
We should have a family reunion. I would love that.
As a matter of fact, I think we have one coming up this summer for on my dad's side of the family, so in Ohio.
That's so exciting. Well, good. Any shout outs? Anybody else, real quick? And I know we want to have you on to do another side.
We you know, hey, shout out to Maple Mountain Golden Eagle community, to Mapleton and East Spanish Fork Bench community. We have a wonderful place where we stay and live, and there are so many just magnificent people where we live. And, you know, this is just a little small token of comfort food sometimes when it's cold, right? It gets a little chilly outside.
And hey, we have our own TV station.
Absolutely.
Not all cities have their own TV station, like this one.
Yep, very few. Absolutely.
All right, thank you so much, Kaylin.
You're welcome.
Well, everyone, we're going to do more things, another episode, so keep watching and happy cooking.
Here we go.